Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin and Debuc.
David Wynn.
And we're here to talk about how to have great success in every market. Today, guys, that market is Nevada. And Dave, man, brother, you've brought a giant in today. Who did you bring with us?
Man, this guy doesn't need a walk-up music or anything like that. He has his own. It's Chakits from Las Vegas, Nevada. I think everybody knows who he is already. Welcome to the show, man.
Well, I do appreciate you guys having me on the show. It is an honor.
So, Chakits, you're out there in Nevada, and we know something about you, but our audience may not. I don't know how that's possible, but it is possible. But you've got a great big following. How'd you get into this industry? Are you from Las Vegas originally?
No, originally from Honolulu, Hawaii, and about 21 years ago, I chased a girl up here that was probably about 15 years older than I was. You know, this is like one of the first loves, right? You chase a girl up here, and being 15 years older, she just realized, I'm just a kid. And within probably about 3-4 days, she was just like, you know what? It ain't going to work. But I knew coming up to Las Vegas, this was such a new metropolitan area. I knew that if I stayed in Hawaii, things are always the same in Hawaii. It just, it doesn't really change. It's slow growth. But I knew by coming out here, I had the opportunity, right? There was so much opportunity. So I came out here. When she was like, hey, you got to leave, at that point, I was like, you know what, let me gather my thoughts. Let me gather everything together. I went from one job to another. But as working out here in Las Vegas, you start to realize it's all about drive, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you start to realize, how did this person make this kind of money? So I was going from like one job to another. And I realized I needed to get into sales. And I knew back then, like, sales was it, right? So with sales, I was like, what type of business can I start that I didn't have a college education, but I had a couple bucks, and I think it was only like $3,500 at that time. And I said, look, why don't I just go out and start a mobile detailing business, right? Because you can buy the equipment for so cheap.
You can.
And at that point, you're forced to do sales. So once I got the equipment, I started going to companies and asking, hey, would you like a free car wash? And I would detail their cars. And I did such a good job, they called me back. And one of my first accounts was a pretty big account. So at that point, they just kept calling me back, and I just got more and more clients. And I've learned how to detail cars so well, and my sales skills really built up. But when I was detailing cars, I would always listen to podcasts. This is before we had iPhones. This is back when we had MP3 players. Yeah. And I was listening to all financial wealth, like planning and stuff like that, right? Because I was always into money. And they would always talk about real estate. So at that point, I knew I needed to get into real estate.
That's it.
So I saved about another $3,000. I flew out to Charlotte, North Carolina to learn how to do subject twos.
Oh, man.
And I was there for 2 days, and I came back, and I was thinking about it. I said, you know what, maybe subject twos is not the way for me to go. Maybe I should get into real estate. But I was kind of like pondering on it. Then when I bought my first house, and this was like, 2008, the crash just happened.
That's it, yeah.
I was into the marketplace. I was about to buy my first home. And the agent that I was working with, and I told him, hey, I might get into real estate. He says, come and hang your license with me. I'll show you the ropes. And it was history from then.
My man. So 2008, you're right. Tough market to get into. And, but you're a hard worker. You literally build a business out of thin air. And it sounds like it was a thriving business, but said, hey, I could do this, but I could do better. Get out there, get the education, and you come into the market. How'd that look in 2008, 2009? Was it just, man, I'm going to jump in and it just fell in your lap? Or, did you have to work real hard to get that?
So like 2009, we had over about 18,000 properties on the market, right? Mm-hmm. This is when you could have bought a home literally for $15,000 in certain areas, right? Yeah. I think that first year, I've only did a couple deals, but my whole goal was not to make 7 figures or become this multimillionaire, right? My goal was to have a career. Yeah. All I wanted to do, honestly, was become something that was professional, which is a real estate agent, but enough just to pay my bills. That's all I wanted. So the first year was so tough, but the crazy thing about this was, as I was going in to go get my license, people looked at me as, what am I doing? Yeah. A lot of agents were just quitting because they couldn't survive.
Yeah. Yep.
But I remember the first broker that I was working with, he said, hey, Chakits, if you can survive this, right, by making all these calls and weathering the storm,
That's it.
when the market is good, you will prosper.
Just thrive.
And I was like, wow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? And that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day I started, he gives me the book, right? And he goes, call all these numbers. I'm like, what do I say? He says, figure it out. I just kept making calls, rejections. And what happens is you start to build this muscle.
That's it.
And then what happens is you really start to learn your industry. You start to learn the marketplace. Then you start to learn overcoming objections with the knowledge that you have.
That's it.
And that's what has really helped me with sales, right?
Yeah, so it's that overcoming the call reluctance, right? And at the end of the day, what's happening is every single phone call is just the repetition of learning, how to manage those questions. I'm sure you start to realize, man, these questions I'm getting or these rejections I'm getting, they're all very similar, right? So then you start crafting your response. Well, I'm going to try this. Well, that didn't work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it this way. Oh, that got a little further, right? I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I don't know if you remember the movie Groundhog Day. Did you ever watch that? Yeah. What was it? There's Bill Murray who's coming back to life and reliving the same day over and over again. But what he started to do is he started to actually master the craft. He got better and he got better and he got better and he got better. And by the end of it, he was the best version of himself he could possibly be. That's what you're talking about, right? You're basically getting in there and you're falling down and getting back up stronger every single time. And let me tell you something, any professional in any industry, they don't start off the best, right? Michael Jordan didn't start off the best. Kobe Bryant didn't start off the best. It's that day-to-day repetition of doing it again and again and again with the belief that I can create success, and then here you are today.
And I think this is where people kind of fall off, right, for all the new agents out there. They want gratification right away.
Yeah.
You're not going to get gratification in this industry, okay? First thing is that you're making all these calls, you're getting rejections, and I understand that you get beat up. But once you land your first deal, that boosts up the morality, right? You're like, bam, this thing actually works.
Yeah.
And as you're building your confidence, now you can start to track your calls and your data, right?
That's it.
And this is where we used to go back and how many calls I would make a day.
Yep.
How many conversations I would have.
Talk tos.
What was my conversion rate to approval letters?
That's
from my
it.
approval letters, how many we got into escrow? Then what was my conversion from escrow to closing?
Yeah.
Right? Once that was all broken down to me, I was like, formula. Okay, now I need to make this many calls. But as you get better and better, your rate of return gets greater.
Yes, sir.
Right? So that's what really worked for me.
Well, that's the formula for success. 100% is what it is. It's because what you're doing is you're tracking your digits and you're going, okay, this is what it's going to take to get here. So if I want to do more, because I did this much off of this, if I want to do more, I'm going to use that same formula and going to go, okay, so if I want to close this many more, I got to do this many more outreaches. And if I do this many more outreaches, statistics say, based off of my success rate, I'm going to get here. But each time you're doing it, you're getting better and you're getting better and you're getting better. The results increase. And then eventually you have a very successful business because you put in the effort and you put in the work. And I think, Chakits, that's where a lot of people, they stop because they don't see those immediate results. Like you said, they want that instant gratification. And, it gets really scary to find success. Yeah. You said it yourself. It took me a year. I maybe closed 2 deals in my first year. Well, most agents wouldn't even made it that first year because after 6 months of not closing any loans, they would have got out. Right? Especially in that market, because let me tell you something, what this man's not telling you is that not only was he trying to do it and do it with no previous history, but in a market, if we remember 2008, 2009, 2010, where nobody was buying, and he's in Las Vegas, that was one of the markets that really got hit hard. I mean, we all got hit, but Vegas was struggling big time back then.
I mean, trust me, I'm making calls, I'm doing open houses, but at the end of the day, I knew I didn't have a choice but to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I think this is where some agents will fall off because they may have a spouse that's making good money, right? And they get a little bit comfortable. And I realize you never want to be comfortable or content. Yeah. Once you are content, things fall off. There's no more growth.
That's right.
So you have to have something that you're achieving for. So every year, that's what I always did. What could I do in the next 30 days to make it better? Make it better again, make it better again, and keep applying all the tools I have, and I just kept learning and taking those tools and implementing that. And I had so many different mentors along my way. Now, when I say mentors, it wasn't really coaching one-on-one.
Right.
It was talking to top producers, learning what they did,
Yeah.
right? Taking some of those items with me and implementing into my systems, my personality, and the character that I am. And I would just take these resources. It was free.
My man.
It's just the same thing right now. With you guys, I'm going to take something from this.
Yeah. You know, we talk about that all the time. It's filling up the cup, right? You know, you go hang out with your buddy Chakits, and he pours you a great cup of coffee. You slam that down. Next time I see you, I'm going to give you a great cup of coffee. You're going to drink that too, and we're learning from each other, right? You know, always come to the table with some knowledge and always take away from the people you're working with. And, you know, that's what we always talk about. And again, it's the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? You know, they better be some pretty awesome people, because if you're going to grow and you've got a growth mindset, you need to be spending time with the people that are going to help you build success. Sounds like you found a lot of great mentors and peers that were doing amazing things. You took a little bit from each of them, created your process, and you know, now you've got the amazing business that you have today. And I love that, man. This
Now,
is the kind of
there
stuff
are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people out there that will get all the information, very smart at what they do, but that's just a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
The number one piece, right, is to actually take action.
Yeah.
That is the main thing. Take action.
Yeah, take action. You know, it's funny you say that. I'm wearing my Just Ask shirt, right? And what is that talking about? It's talking about taking action, right? You know, this is actually from Steve Jobs did a video several years ago. Obviously, he's not with us anymore. And he said, you know, one thing that I learned in my young age, I was 12 years old. I reached out in the phone book. He said, I reached out to Bill Hewlett from Hewlett Packard and said, hey, I need these parts for my computer. And of course, he calls Hewlett Packard, right? And says, can you doing a project? Can you provide those? He said, I sure can. The guy ended up giving him an internship, and we know where Steve Jobs took that overall, right? But what he said is what I found in my professional career, and even when I was a young child, is that as long as I ask, right, then there's always going to be an opportunity. He said most people, if you ask them, they want to help you out, right? And what you're talking about is the same thing. You've got to get out there and you got to hit the ask, right? And if we're in sales, real estate or mortgage, you got to be out there making the ask. The opportunities minus no's is what equals the money, right? That's where it comes from.
And in this industry also, there's always something to do. So if an agent says, hey, I made all these calls, okay, so what else are you doing, right? Yeah. Are you door knocking? Are you doing an open house? And when you're at an open house, you could be making calls. So there's 2 types in this business. You got people that are working in their business or on their business. So if you're not working in your business, then you should be working on your business.
My man.
And that's the motto I go with. So sometimes I'm working in my business where I'm taking clients out. I'm doing paperwork, right, that I have to put out some fires.
That's right.
Once that is done, I'm implementing more tools, systems in place
yes, sir,
to work my business.
Amen. Amen.
Hey,
well, no, you go, brother.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask you, Chuck. I've been following your production for a while now, and you've had a steady increase. But I think the pinnacle of your business has really increased because of your videos and social media and stuff like that. Tell us how that got started, how long ago, and
let's take this back too, because a lot of people. You're on how many channels? What channels were your big subscribers from?
So my big subscriber is just for video home tours. So I do have a second channel, but that's more for like lifestyle and if you want to be a real estate agent, right?
Yep.
So the first channel, I think we have about 250,000 followers. We've generated over 1 billion views. That channel right there is really the success to my business.
Yeah.
So how that actually got started was, I've been making all these calls, have repeat clients, but I realized that you have to step back and look at your business. Okay, what is your business based upon right now? How do we get most of our business? It was just from cold calling.
Yeah.
The next step is, how do we get from calling people for where we can get people to call us?
Oh, man.
That was one thing I thought about, right? And, in 2008, I was doing a couple of video home tours for some clients that are from out of state. And back then, we couldn't just upload a video because of the file was just so big. I couldn't send it through email.
Right.
So what I did was I just took that and I uploaded it on YouTube, and I just took advantage of it because it squashed down the file where it gave me a URL link, and I would just send that video on over to the client. And I'm like, okay, I see what YouTube is starting to do here.
Yeah.
maybe I should probably do a couple video home tours. Let's see what happens. So I think around 2018, towards the and maybe like November, December, I did a couple of videos. I uploaded. We went to Hawaii, and I'm hanging out in Hawaii with the wife, just chilling. I get a call. Hey, I seen this video. I'm actually interested in this home. As soon as I got that call, I already knew.
Yeah.
This is the direction that real estate is going.
That light bulb went off.
I'm on to something here.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was doing the videos, everybody was like, what are you doing? Right? And I knew, hey, all I got to do, right, is to dominate my space. Matter of fact, there was nobody in the space at that time.
No. It was
so
empty.
At this point, this is where I go back. You're working in your business or on your business.
Yes, sir.
If I'm not showing properties, if I ain't got nothing to do, I'm going to go out and create videos.
Content.
And that's all I did. I collected a library of videos to the point, if you Google, homes for sale or homes for sale in Las Vegas, I want to be ranked number 1.
That's it.
And that's what worked. And you start to get more and more calls. And this is where, you start to build the momentum, right? You start to realize things work. You get more enthused. You're like, oh my God, now you're pumped, and you just keep going, right? You get that drive.
So let's take it back real quick. So you start shooting these videos, and you're uploading them to YouTube. How many videos in before it really started to take any type of flight?
I think I'm going to say, the amazing thing is probably about the 8th video, I got a call, right? But after that, I didn't get calls. But I knew it was going to work.
Yeah.
So where the volume really came in, where we were getting, about 350 leads a month, I was probably into it for like 2.5 years, honestly.
2.5 years.
Yes, it took that long to get that many volume every single month.
And at a time when the space wasn't full of content, right? Because we got to rewind this back, 2008, 2009, YouTube was a thing, but it wasn't what it is today, right? So it took you 2.5 years to really start seeing the production just flying in. And that was with how often were you shooting content? Was it once a week, 3 times a week,
So this is what I would do. It just depends. If I wasn't busy working in my business, then I was working on my business.
That's right.
But I would do batch filming, which means I would film about 5 properties at a time, schedule those properties to be launched every day at a certain time.
There it is.
Right? And that's all I was doing.
Yeah.
So after that, if I was free, I'm shooting videos. Like I said, if you want to be successful in this business, you got to put in the work. Okay? If you don't have the money, you got to put in the work.
That's right.
That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, well, you got to have a process. You got to stick to it, and you got to follow through every single week. You can't sleep on it ever, right? And that's the thing, is that if you let off the gas at all, it's going to slow down the car, right? And so you've got to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're consistent with it. And if you get to the point where you can start to hire a team, right, that can help do some of that heavy lifting, you still don't top. You just change the activity that you're doing. You let them do the back end work. You stay focused on the front end work so that you're always bringing in sales, because sales is the gasoline that's going to run that motor and keep it going. So you're building all this great content. How long did it take? How long did it take before you started getting subscribers? Was that pretty early on? Did you start seeing people subscribe to the channel?
The subscriber count was very low, right? But then when you start hitting around 20,000, it starts to build a little bit faster, depending on your content. But around the pandemic, that's when it really exploded, right? Because people were just at home, just watching TV. So that's kind of like where it really took off. So when everybody was sitting at their house, I was still working. I was shooting videos. Right?
Yep.
Because the market had slowed down, but obviously I was making some revenue from YouTube, and I wasn't going to stop that revenue. I had bills to pay, but I was able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I was able to pay my bills, stack up some money still, and create a large following during the pandemic.
That's huge, man. It's funny you mentioned 20,000, because I was looking at my Mindshook Facebook account today, and the Mindshook account literally was at 19,998 when I looked this morning. And I'm pretty sure if I go pull it up right now, we probably just popped over 20,000 today.
Nice.
And so we started that just about a year ago, maybe if that, about a year ago, if that. So, it's always nice to hear that, because, you always look for the encouragement of, how long does it take take for these things to pop, or does it ever pop, or do you just suck, right? So
Also, the subscriber count,
20,008.
Congratulations
My
on
man.
that.
Let's pop the champagne, baby.
Now,
I don't drink, but we can still pop.
a lot of people look at how many subscribers we have right on the platform, and a lot of agents are like, "Oh, that's great." I said, "Look, don't focus
Nope.
on how many followers you have and
That's
how many
right.
subscribers. That don't mean anything.
It doesn't.
I would rather have 10,000 or 500 people that are actually buying a home from me,
my man,
versus having a bunch of followers."
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes agents will focus on that, and you shouldn't be.
Nope.
Now, the only thing that helps is when somebody's watching a video and they realize, okay, this guy has a bunch of followers, maybe I'll subscribe. That's all that's for.
It.
Okay?
That's it.
And that's it. What matters is the more thumbs up that you get, it helps out the algorithm.
That's right.
It shows it to more people. And the people that are watching it, they may not buy yet. Because I have clients that we literally just went in under contract. They've been watching me for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it took them 4 years. But what's great about the platform and video is that once it's out, it's out.
It's always there.
It doesn't go anywhere. Yeah.
It's perfect. Like, this is the best marketing material for real estate agents out there.
It is.
Like, you got to do this, right? And if you're not doing this, you're going to be behind. Like, let's get real.
No question about it.
Now, the market may shift. The platforms may shift, because I'm starting to see that now.
Yep.
Everybody's going towards Instagram, right?
Less on Facebook.
Now, YouTube used to be one where you could do vlogs, and people used to love vlogs. It's no longer vlogs. Now it's all more educational based.
That's right.
It is all more podcasts, and that's what everybody's leaning to. So you have to kind of see what the market is doing in your industry, but also you have to take a look at the platform as well, and you got to stick to one platform. So my platform is YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you say, hey, how do you really work the Instagram, the Facebook? Those are not my platforms.
Yeah.
YouTube is my platform.
That's right.
And I think this is where a lot of agents go wrong. They try to spread themselves too thin, and that's not good. You have to focus on one thing and one thing only until you get so big at it, then you can start dabbling on other things as well.
Yeah, you bleed over. You bleed over. Well, I love that you said that, because, one thing Dave and I talk about all the time is we don't care about, I preface this, we care about our followers. It's not about building followers. That's not what it's for. For us, what it is that when we're reaching out to another peer in the industry, or we have a consumer that wants to know who we are and wants to know what we're about, they can come to our site, they can come to our pages, and they can get to know who we are. And not just who we are as hey, we got this great program that can get you here. Who we are as people, right? Who we are as individuals, how we're going to serve you, what we're going to provide for you as a human being, right? Because that's what it's about. We're here to build relationships. And so when somebody comes to one of our pages, sure, we've got billboards, but they can also get to know who we are and what we're about and what we're here to do to serve the community. And I think that's really, what these social platforms are for. Take the subscribers away. And if somebody comes and goes, well, I just met this guy, Dave Wynn, I'm going to look him up. And they look up Dave. They've got content for days. They could literally watch for months to get to know Dave and go, man, I trust this guy, right? And I think that's really what it's all about, right, Chakits?
Yeah, here's the thing. One thing I've noticed about social media and video at, long format and short format, people want to do business with people that they like, okay?
Yeah.
We've got 7 billion people on planet Earth. I know I can't serve everybody. Not everybody's going to like me, a guy with tattoos. I don't dress in a suit. But believe it or not, there are a lot of people that do like me, and they want to do business with me because they like me. They like my personality. They like my style. And that's what's great about these videos, is because I will have clients that contact me. Hey, man, we can relate. And it feels like I know you, which is I don't know them, but they know me.
That's right.
And it's funny because they'll make these little jokes, and I don't catch on to those jokes. But these were jokes that I've made in the past in the videos.
That's right.
Right? Because one of my things is I always have a hard time as a real estate agent opening up the doors. I have no clue why. So they always crack jokes, and they have like these little things that they say, remarks, but it's just funny to me like how much that they know me and I have no clue who they are.
Yeah, you're right.
That's where we build that relationship through video content.
You do.
Right?
You do.
And that has really, really helped. And one thing I do want to mention is that there are agents that I work with, they're getting ready to get ready. They do so many videos to make a perfect video.
Yeah.
Scratch that. Just be who you are.
That's
if
right.
you mess up, it's okay. If you look at my videos, my grammar's not correct all the time. Sometimes I say something incorrect, but that's just who I am.
100%.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But people can actually relate to that because I'm just an average human being. I'm a guy that's going to help you out, right? And people need to relate with you. And there's sometimes where people, they know who I am, but they end up doing business with somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's okay because they relate with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for agents out there that are shooting content. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't get ready to get ready, right? The good news is that when you compile your library of videos, it's always fun to go back and see the progression.
Yeah.
Because you're going to learn as you go along.
You do.
And that's how it should be.
Brother, I love that you said that. I think you're a little modest. You're above average. Like you're a superstar, man. You're a rock star. And
thank you.
And you are, man. You really are. You know, you're an educator. You're educating people. You know, you're providing them with a great service, and you know, you just are a great guy. But you know, I love what you said there. You know, about people do business with people that they trust or like, right? You know, ours is people do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? And I think those things are important. That's what the social platform does. But the other thing you said that I loved was be who you are. Our mentor, you know, when we got started with the podcast, you know, I remember Dave and I were sitting at an event in Nashville, and you know, we were listening to one of our mentors, and he said, "Hey, you know, podcast is a great way to connect with people across the United States, or with your market, correct with your market, not across it, but correct with your market." And he said, "You know, this is how you can do it, and this is how you put it out." And Dave and I looked at each other and said, "We're going to do it." We never had the fear of getting on camera and talking. We just didn't. But most people we run into, especially on our team, they struggle with it, you know. And what Carl said that I think is really, really important is when you go out in public, you don't put a paper bag on your head, right? Mm-hmm. That's who you are, you know. And a lot of people look at themselves on camera, hear the way they talk, and they go, "Man, I don't like the way I look on camera." Man, that's how you look, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how you sound. And guess what? Everybody still loves you. They do, right? And the last time I looked, maybe they're pointing fingers and laughing at me behind my back. I don't know. But the last time I looked, people aren't watching my videos and going, "Man, that guy's such a clown." You know, he's a joke, right? And if they are, hey, that's okay. They're not my 16%, right? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the 16% of people that are going to connect with us. The 84% that don't, that's okay. Like you said, let them do business with the people they know, like, and trust. But the video gets you that opportunity to get out there, but you can't be scared to do it. You just got to get on film, stumble through it, make the mistakes, drop it out there, and guess what? Like you said, with anything, the repetition, you're going to get better. And I love that you mentioned going back and watching your old footage. My assistant came to my house one day. She was house sitting for us, and she turns on YouTube, and she saw that one of my episodes was up. She's like, "Do you watch yourself?" And I said, "Jennifer, I do, but not why you think." I said, "I watch myself because I want to get better than I was last week." And just like when I was an athlete, when we got done with the big game, we woke up the next morning, we went to the wherever we went, and we watched game tape, right? And we learned from what we did wrong the day before, and we got back out there and did it harder. Man, brother, just so much wisdom coming from you today. And again, this is why we brought this guy on. Dave, seriously, brother, like what an asset, right? You know, for us to be able to share his knowledge with our viewers out there. So let's talk to the borrowers a little bit, right? So we've been talking to agents. Let's talk about. So what do you do, you know, in the LV market, you know, to serve your borrowers? How do you help your people out there?
So a lot of our clients, like I said, they're out of state. Obviously, we do service our clients out here too, as well, our local residents. Our company is really based upon helping and educating buyers on how to build homes. And about 95% of our transactions, believe it or not, is new home builds. So I have a relationship with new home builders.
My man.
But I educate buyers, right, on how to buy a home, things that you need to look out for, and how to spec out a home, which means how do you build out your home to get the most value out of that home on the resale side.
Yeah.
So when I go out and help a buyer purchase a home, I'm just not looking to put them into a deal. I always think about the resale value. So I literally walk them through the whole process, but also educate them at the same time to build. So like, let me give you an idea. We just recently closed on a home. I think it was about 4,000 square feet. It was through one of the national builders out here. And the home, we bought it for about, $2.4 million. And With this builder, you have about 30 to 35% premium of upgrades. So what we did was walk the client through the structural design of the home. Here's why we're going to do this structural design. Here is the electrical high and low voltage, okay? Here's the type of insulation that we need, okay? But everything else, we'll leave all stock and standard. We close out the deal. We're putting another $700,000 into the property as far as remodeling the home. And now the home will be listed for about $4.2 million. So these are the kind of things that we help our clients with. Now, for the first-time home buyers, we also educate them on, look, when you buy a home, you got to buy a home the right way, the smart way, right? Or what are you getting for your money? Some of these builders may use 2x4s, 2x6. They may use blown-in insulation, batten insulation. They may do blown-in foam insulation where they're doing cocoon. What type of AC unit do they have? What is a good brand for an AC unit? Yep. Is it a 13th tier, 14th tier, or is this an older home? They're using R22. This is a 15-year home. Look, if this thing goes out, now we're at 410 according to APA guidelines. So now you're probably going to have to think about this when you do the upgrades later on once this thing breaks. So we literally walk them through a construction standpoint. It's almost like buying a car. You know when you have like guys that are really knows everything about a car and you can walk to a car, you know exactly what kind of body, the rims, all this stuff. That's the same thing for houses for me.
Yeah.
So I help my clients to let them know you are getting a good purchase. The quality of materials that you're getting stock and standard with this is actually worth the money. Because you may have some builders that may cut the costs. Even like homes that they're flipping. You can walk into a $4 million home. I walk into the clients, I can tell you right now, they're using porcelain tile. This tile is not great, okay? This home does not have full security system. It doesn't have good high and low voltage. Like you have orange peel texture. This is not even a level 5 finishing. Like these are the things that consumers really need to know, right? Absolutely. I also come from a construction background too as well. But again, I have a passion about real estate and I love real estate. And it's just not about selling the home. It's about the product itself.
Brother, let me tell you something. You know, this is what we're talking about. You know, what do you provide to the consumer? You're a true expert. And that's so important because, again, you know, when you go out to a new construction site and you start talking to the builder, they're not going to tell you this stuff, right? You know, this isn't the thing that they're going to do. So, you know, a client who's saying, well, why do I get an agent to represent me when I'm buying from? This is why. This is why. Because what Chakits is going to do, he's going to walk you through the house and he's going to make sure that it's built from the ground up to get you the best value, to make sure that it's going to meet the needs, that it's going to have great resale value, right? And that effectively that it's built the way that it needs to be built. And we need more people out there that do what you do, because I promise you, this isn't standard, right? The level of detail that you provide to your consumers, quite frankly, it's unheard of. I love to talk to somebody to master their craft.
So here's the thing, and that's what I realized in this industry, right? And especially creating content and video, because if you're doing video, right, you have to be in a way that you can relay the message and provide valuable content. And that's how people end up wanting working with you, right? Because they realize you know what you're doing. But also you have to care at the same time. Yeah. Now, not all agents will have the passion, right? But if you're in the business, you got to understand what's going on. Doing real estate is one thing, but also you have to understand the materials and the product that you are basically selling. All right? And a lot of consumers are not aware that how the process works with a brand new home, because number one, you got to buy a lot. There's a lot premium, right? But also in the contract, it says in a lot premium, we could charge you whatever we want. Did you know that's negotiable? Did you know it's negotiable with a builder? A lot of people are not even aware of that. Mm-hmm. What are your timelines with the builders? When do you lose your EMD, right? What is the percentage that you put down? Because that's how builders make money, is based upon all premiums, right? And it's our job to understand how to play the game, but play by the rules and use it against them. Yeah. I know that sounds bad, but that's just how it is. My job is to represent the client.
That's it. And
every time we come to the roadblock, hey, this is how it works. You go left and right, these are your options. And they should come back, and they do this all the time. What should I do? Well, Mr. Buyer, this is what I would do, and here's why. And at that point, you're leading them into the right path to get the home built, right? And to be built right. Because you got to understand, these are production builds. The builders, right, are not building your home. These are Fortune 500 companies that is just pushing paperwork. The only person that's working for the builder is you got the sales team, you got the construction manager, but all the trades for the builder does not work for the builder. It's all third-party companies. And these third-party companies don't work for the builder. It's all piecework. What piecework means by once you hire a company to come out to do the framing for the house, that crew may only get $4,000 just to do that framing for that house. So the faster that they put on the framing together, they're getting paid. And they're splitting the cost between the 4 or 5 man crew that's putting that frame up. However, you may have a crooked 2x4 or the 2x4 is not as great, but they're still slapping it together because they're moving on to the next house. And that's the way that this industry runs.
So what we're talking about here is that if you want your new construction purchase to be more than just a number, you need a great representative that's going to help make sure that your home is built the way it needs to be built. And that's the kind of service that Chakits is providing. And I got to be honest with you, man, I've talked to a lot of people. I've never heard it broke down like that. So
yeah, you really have to go above and beyond, right? So, and I'm sorry to cut you off. Again, I have a passion for this, so I could talk about this all day.
My man.
It doesn't only end there, okay? Your job as an agent, you need to provide a level of service that is so great, that's more than your value, where people want to hire you, okay? And what I mean by that is, once the frame goes up, we go out, we take photos, we look at everything. They don't have to come out here to Las Vegas. We do all the inspections. We check everything. If there's a problem, we address those problems. And you will have problems on new home builds, from the frame walk, from the drywall walk, right? For the final inspections. We also hire the inspectors to come in, our own independent inspectors, to inspect everything. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand, these superintendents, they may have 30 closings in 1 month that they have to finish. That is too much for a superintendent, okay? A superintendent should only be managing 12 homes a month. But when you have corporate pushing down their neck, close these deals, that superintendent is really not watching all the trades.
Yeah.
So it's really your responsibility as an agent to be looking at all this stuff. And again, I have a passion for this. I know I'm sounding very aggressive, and I do apologize.
Not at all, man. No, you're not,
man.
because
I love it.
Some people take passion for aggression, and that's not what it is, man. You're so inspired to make sure that people get the right attention, and that's what they deserve, man. So you're protecting the consumer with a relentless passion, and I love it, man. Seriously. Well, Chakits, we'd love to keep you here all day, and I know we could because you're a wealth of knowledge and resources. But, brother, we know you got stuff to do out there. Anything we didn't tackle today that we should have?
Yes, I just want to finish up with this, okay? The prospecting does not begin right at the beginning, okay? It begins at the end. And what I mean by that is once you do a good job, for all the agents out there, you do a good job, you close out the deal, that's when the prospecting really begins. It's all your past clients, okay? That's very important. So I want to leave that with all the agents.
And I couldn't agree with you more, right? Because again, Dave, you talked about this earlier today. It's not just about that one customer following up with them, but you're following up with them and you're following up with everybody that they know, right? And it's, hey, I loved working with you. I love representing you, and it's been such a pleasure and an honor. Hey, is there anybody else in your sphere that I might be able to do service to? I want to take care of your friends and family too, right? And, we make it an effort to make sure we follow up at least once a quarter by phone. We have other methods of follow-up, but we always feel it's important to get at least one phone call a quarter to stay in touch and make sure those consumers are up to date, So I love it. Well, Dave, anything you want to say to Chakits before we wrap everything up?
I just know that if I'm buying real estate in Las Vegas, Nevada, there's only one man I'm calling with his expertise. Why would you call anybody else?
Yeah, no question.
I appreciate you guys.
When the folks out there want to find you, Chakits, how do they get in touch with you? What's the best way to track you down?
So you could just Google my name. It's Chakits. You can find us on Instagram just with that name alone. I mean, just Google that name, and that's probably the best way to find me. I'm on all the platforms.
There it is.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and if you watch right down below, we'll throw all the handles out. We'll also have that in the description on the podcast if you're listening in. But I think that's probably going to be it. That's how we're going to get you in front of them. So, and if you're tuning in to the podcast, we do shoot it and air it on all the regular platforms. But we'd love for you to come over to YouTube and meet Chakits live and live and in person. So we're your real estate success partners. I'm Devin Debuc.
I'm David Wynn.
And if you want to check us out, come on over to the realestatesuccesspartner.com or visit us on YouTube at the Debuc Team. You can find us there. We're over on IG, Facebook, TikTok. We're on all those platforms. And again, we hope you do. We'd love for you to come in and meet Chakits live and in person. And man, again, if you're looking at buying real estate in that Las Vegas area or Nevada in general, make sure you reach out to him and his team. These guys are an amazing resource. So until the next time, we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.